Hello, everyone. This is Gary Baumgarten with my buddy Boaz Franco once again because Boaz just did a half an hour long discussion with me. And if you listen to it, well, you get to hear me, but you don't get to hear him. And even if you hear me, it's muffled, and we can't have that. So I brought Boaz back for this quick test. Boaz, how do you copy me?
I hear you just fine, Gary.
And I am guessing that our listeners hear you fine as well. Can you just give us a recap of your comments about why the prices are so much higher in California during this inflationary spiral than they are here on the West Coast, on the East Coast?
Well, it depends on the products that we're talking about, but mainly it has a lot to do with what happened at the port in Long Beach, where there was a backup of unloading of containers because of there weren't enough workers there. They were, I mean, you're only working they were working one shift during the day, and they were also working what was called low par because they didn't have enough workers. So the ships they got backed up, 70, 80 ships, and a lot of produce, a lot of merchandise just didn't reach the stores, causing shortages. Now we're talking about dry foods, we're talking about electronics, we're talking about clothing, about basically everything. Now when it comes to gasoline, of course, you have the 50-cent or so environmental tax that only the state of California charges, which makes the gasoline always more expensive than any other state. But of course, you have a shortage of drivers too, because basically everything gets around in this country on 18-wheelers, and there's a shortage of drivers. So transportation, there is a lack in transportation to get the merchandise delivered to the stores. So, but basically, in the last half year, we've had price hikes in basically everything that we buy in order to live day by day.
But when you talk about the backup at the ports in California, that affects the entire nation, actually. So I don't know how that would impact California disproportionately.
Well, you have to remember that the California, they generally get, okay, when you order something that comes from the Far East, it comes in through the Port of California. And we usually get that stuff a lot quicker than other parts of the United States because we have the port right here.
So you have less transportation costs, so the price should be less than here, but it's more than here.
It's more here also because of there's a shortage of drivers, there's a shortage of workers, there's a shortage of everything right now. Got to add that the COVID-19 factor also. That also has a lot to do with that. But California has always been a more expensive state. That food, gasoline, commodities, everything that we buy has always been more expensive here than in other states. Why? Because we have higher taxation. We have higher environmental taxes
and minimum wage. Your minimum wage is high.
Not just on gases.
And your minimum wage is high.
The wages here are, well, it used to be that way, but it's not that way anymore. Minimum wages are actually lagging behind other states in the United States. That we have not been the cost of living adjustment. According to the living index, has not been. We have not gotten. According to the price hikes, we have not gotten on a parallel, income hikes And as a matter of fact, we've been lagging behind more so than most other states in the United States, making things even more expensive.
Okay, I want to close with one other issue that you brought up that I found astounding. And I want to repeat it because nobody's going to listen through the last conversation because I screwed up the audio so badly. But I don't want them to miss the opportunity to hear this. Tell me about all these containers that are scattered about Southern California.
Well, that's a real problem. What happened was when the port of Long Beach, California, when they started picking up their pace of work in order to alleviate the pressure of all these ships that were anchored off the shore of California. What happened was that the port quickly filled up with containers and they had nowhere to put them inside the port. So what they did was that they started moving these containers. They didn't have a choice. They actually had to start moving these containers into the city of Long Beach, and they started parking these containers on residential streets, blocking, taking up parking spaces for one thing, blocking the people's houses from getting in and out, and just putting the containers anywhere they could to get them out of the port.
I can't believe anybody would be happy about the decision to drop one of those big containers off in front of their house.
It was, I don't know who decided to do that. I can't believe that it would have been the mayor of Los Angeles, because the mayor wouldn't do something like that. I think the port of Long Beach, I think they did that on their own. They just didn't know. They had nowhere to put them. They had absolutely nowhere to put them. You have to understand, if you knew the demographic of what Long Beach looks like, the port of Long Beach looks like, you have the port and then you have private property all over the place there. You can't just, grab a empty field and start loading it up with containers. The land around there belongs to different, entities, people, the city, whatever. So, they have nowhere to put them.
Well, let's hope to spur somebody to take some of those containers and convert them into apartments with running water and plumbing. Obviously, if you have running water and electricity for the homeless, I think that would be a great thing to do. I don't know how they would fund it, but it would be a great thing to do. Boaz Frankel, thank you for doing the initial interview and for accommodating me by doing this abbreviated version.
It's a pleasure being here, Gary.
And to everybody, I hope this one worked. And if so, there'll be more to come. Until the next time, peace out.